The following contest scheduled for one fall.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to One Fall Friday, and what a week it has been. You know, I wait until Thursday to record my vlog so I can upload it on Friday because the show is called One Fall Friday, and I want to make sure that I have all the information possible. And then things can get kind of complicated. Okay, so the day that I uploaded last week's vlog, maybe 2 or 3 hours afterwards, wasn't even that long at all. It was just a matter of minutes after I uploaded my vlog. WWE announced that there was a change to the card. If you follow what's going on, then you already know. If you don't know what's going on, several superstars ended up getting sick. They had a virus which made them very, very contagious, and so for the benefit of their entire faculty, they had to pull them off the tour, whichever, you know, I guess you could call it a tour, but I mean, they're always on the road, but whatever. Bray Wyatt, JoJo, Roman Reigns, and maybe 2 or 3 other people that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. They all got pulled because they were all diagnosed with this bug. That, you know, it's a bug. That's what it is. You know, Michael Cole was trying to, it's a virus, it's a disease or something. They got a bug. They got something, and they're highly contagious, and they couldn't get the entire roster sick. You know, the people behind the scenes, the people that are the commentators. You know, you can't get everybody sick, so you got to isolate the problem and wait for it to just run its course. I'm sure we're gonna see Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt back probably this coming Monday, but in order for the show to go on, they had to make some changes. And what was a semi-interesting pay-per-view ended up becoming a very interesting pay-per-view for 2 reasons. One, because Bray Wyatt was out, we got AJ Styles as a replacement. So we ended up seeing AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. And we'll get to that match in a moment, and we'll also get to the main event after a while, which Roman Reigns' replacement was Kurt Angle. This was very, very shocking to a lot of people because he hadn't wrestled in a WWE ring, I think they said, in 11 years. That doesn't mean that he didn't wrestle for 11 years at all, which is the way they were trying to play it up. You know, the WWE tries to make believe that other wrestling organizations don't exist and that they're the only thing out there, and if you're not wrestling for WWE, then you're just not wrestling, but that's not the case. Anyway, so yeah, Kurt Angle replaced Roman Reigns. It was a big shock to me because I knew that it was gonna, I was hoping, I kind of knew that Kurt Angle was gonna get back in the ring at some point or another. It was just gonna be a matter of time. You know, timing is everything. And also, they had to get him cleared by WWE's doctors. They're very, very strict, and they have their guidelines or whatever that you have to meet. I mean, essentially that's the reason why Daniel Bryan can't wrestle for WWE anymore, because of all of his concussion problems. Their doctors won't clear him, but he's been working on, you know, getting back in the ring anyway. He's been training, he's been trying to adjust his style, and a lot of, you know, he's already getting offers from other people, other organizations already, and his contract isn't even up. It's not up until next spring, I think. But it was funny to hear his reaction because he ended up tweeting just one word, and that was interesting. And then he put in the link to the article where they were talking about Kurt Angle wrestling and everything like that. So I think it kind of hit a sour note for Daniel, understandably so. I mean, fuck's sake, the man wants to wrestle. That's all he knows and loves. And I think if he can come up with a way to avoid getting hurt or avoid getting concussed and limits the bumps that he takes, which a lot of people do, and it's okay for them to do that. So if he can figure out a way to do that as well, then there's no reason why they shouldn't let him wrestle. Well, that's enough explaining of all that shit. I kind of started rambling and started talking about other things, but let's go over the matches. The first match of the night was Asuka versus Emma. It was exactly what I expected it to be. Emma had a great match. She always has a great match. She looks good. She deserves to be on the main roster. She actually deserves more title opportunities. Even if she's not going to win, she should at least be in the title picture. So it was nice to see her last month in the title picture, but it didn't really mean anything, especially when they brought in Bayley. But Asuka did end up winning, and that was a given, but it was a good match. It was a good, solid first match for Asuka, you know, to get her adjusted, I guess you should say, I guess you could say, to the bigger spotlight of the main roster. So next up we saw Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann versus the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. I mentioned last week that I wasn't really following this story arc that much. I got the gist of it, you know, as they were making their entrances. You know, they kind of recapped to let you know what was going on. It's, you know, it's the B plot of the Cruiserweight division. It's what's going to keep you watching other than just the title picture. And these four individuals are very, very good at what they do, and they put on one hell of a match. And I think if I had been following these four more closely, if I had been watching 205 Live and the Cruiserweight sections on Monday Night Raw, because that's the thing, I watch Raw on Hulu, so they don't show everything. They don't show everything that happens in the Cruiserweight division. Sometimes there's like at least 2 matches that happen that I never even see. I just happen, like, if I'd have to go on YouTube and watch the last 3 or 4 minutes of the match. So that's another reason. It's hard for me to follow a lot of these storylines. But I think that if I had, I think I would have been much more invested and excited for this match. But just as a all-around, you know, quality of a wrestling match, it was very, very good. I give all these guys the credit in the world. I don't know what else I could say about them other than watch them. They're very, very good, and they're very entertaining. Especially Jack Gallagher. I've been fond of him since the Cruiserweight Classic, which was last year, I think. Anyway, so Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander came up with the win. I think I might have said the other way around, Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, but you know, I didn't know anything about it, so it was just a shot in the dark. I had a 50-50 shot, and I missed. Next was the Raw Women's Championship match with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Mickie James put on one hell of a match. I never really discredited her. I mean, when she was first in WWE, she had some matches that were kind of rough, that were a little hard to get through. And I don't know if it was her lack of experience because she was still new, or, as I've said sometimes, you know, 2 people, when they get in the ring, it just doesn't really work. You know, you could have 2 really good wrestlers in their own right, but when you stick them together in a ring and say, you guys have a match now, it doesn't always work. And that, I think that was the case sometimes with Mickie in the past. Alexa Bliss has been unstoppable. Not really unstoppable, but I mean, she's incredible, you know, for a girl her size to be able to compete with all the other women who are bigger and stronger than her, and to keep up and to have her own unique style and to make it look good. I mean, there's a reason why she's been champion and stays champion. It's because she's the total package. She's got the in-ring skill. She's got the charisma on the microphone. She's gorgeous to look at. So why would you not have her as champion? She did win this match. She beat Mickie James. And Mickie James kind of had this promo at the end of the match where I don't know if it was a shoot, if it was real, or if it was scripted. I really don't know, but there was definitely some emotion going on with Mickie after that match. You know, it could have been just acting. She could have just been bringing on the waterworks, the tears, or it could have been real. I mean, I think, you know, it kind of sounded like it was real to me. Like maybe she was holding a bit of a grudge. Like maybe she really wanted that 7th title win, And, she could have just, fought and fought and fought for it. Or, maybe they were telling her, well, give us a reason why you should. And then she goes and works her ass off and they don't give it to her anyway. And then she could be upset. I really don't know. Regardless, she gave like kind of a pretty deep speech at the end of the match. And, said that it wasn't going to be the last time that she was in a title match. And it wasn't going to be the last time that she actually had a title. When that's going to be, I really don't know. But, keep your head up high, Mickey, and, keep doing what you do. And then we had the Cruiserweight title match between Kalisto and Enzo Amore. I don't know how I felt about this match. I really didn't know what to expect going in. I mean, I knew that Enzo was going to end up taking a lot because that's what Enzo does. He sells his ass off. And that just seems to be the biggest thing. He's a big talker, and then I go in and I get my butt kicked and I can sell. I make it look great. That's cool, but I still need some sort of offense from you. I mean, I know a lot of heels usually don't have much offense. They have some hard-hitting moves, and then they sit in a submission. So, they could build up the tension to get that high spot, to get the crowd invested. You don't really... I don't know if that's going away because people's attention spans are so short, or if it's just because we're getting so spoiled with nonstop, high-flying, great-looking action. I really don't know what the case is. Kalisto can wrestle anything and make it look good. He's got some of the best offense I've ever seen. He's definitely got that lucha background, so that's his style, and he makes it look incredibly well. Enzo, I think he's still learning. I think he's going through a process, and he's definitely getting better. He's much better than he was when he first got to the main roster as Big Cass's tag partner. Enzo and Cass, the whole thing. Because most of the time it was just Enzo in the ring selling, and then he'd tag in Cass, and then boom, that's how they worked. That's what that tag team was. It's just the classic big guy and little guy tag team. So he had to have more going into the Cruiserweight division, and I think he's trying. I really think he's trying. I think he's getting there. He has a good, solid finisher. That's a great finisher for him. And he has a jump diving DDT from the top rope that looks really, really good. But I'm going to need more, Zoe. Zoe did pick up the championship again, and I thought he would. I figured they're probably going to pass it back and forth between him and Kalisto. I mean, maybe not Kalisto. Maybe that was just a short little stint. I really don't know what they're doing with that because of the whole Neville thing that's going on. So there's that to think about, too. But, yeah, maybe it'll get better. I hope it'll get better. So, Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. I mentioned that previously. This match was probably the best match of the entire night. I think that they were given a very decent chunk of time to tell a story, and they told that story well. I don't even know... Okay, so here's the thing. Survivor Series is being built as kind of the new bragging... Survivor Series is being built as kind of the new bragging rights pay-per-view. If you remember back from the first brand split, they had it like just a regular old pay-per-view called Bragging Rights, and it was always SmackDown versus Raw. That seems to be what they're doing with Survivor Series now, because I think both brands are on every major pay-per-view, which there's only 4: SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and Mania. So I don't know if they were planning on having this match already. For Survivor Series, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. If they didn't, it certainly would have worked, and it certainly would have made Survivor Series a profitable pay-per-view by fucking far, because this match was so damn good. I don't know why it took them this long to get these two in the ring together. I mean, I guess because maybe they were always on opposite shows? I don't know. It was one hell of a match. I would put it in the runnings for Match of the Year. Finn Balor came up with the win. I don't know if Finn Balor was originally going to win against Bray Wyatt anyway, or if they just decided to have him pick up the win just because. I really thought that Bray was going to win his match with Finn this time. He might not have, I don't know, but like I said, I just don't know why they would go through the trouble of doing that whole Sister Abigail thing if he was just going to end up losing to Finn. It didn't make sense. Anyway, maybe they'll have another go around, with Survivor Series coming up, Raw versus SmackDown. They could do that. They could cut a promo and said, hey man, we had a great match, we made history, let's do it again. And I would be all for it. That was such a good match. I'd love to see these two wrestle again. So I don't know if they were planning on doing this all along, or if it's something that just kind of got added in considering the circumstances of losing some of the superstars and they want to develop some time. But throughout the night, Elias kept coming out and wanted to do his normal shtick of singing a song and all that. But here comes Jason Jordan with a grocery cart full of vegetables, and he's chucking them at Elias. It's pretty funny, That classic... I don't know. After the third attempt of singing the song, they were sent to the ring and they had a match. And this is a good example of two people who have great wrestling ability but don't really have the charisma or the star power, I guess, when they're not wrestling. I like Elias's shtick, the whole drifter concept. I like that. He's just he doesn't sell me. He's boring when he talks. I don't know how you fix that, but he's great when he wrestles. He really, really is. And Jason Jordan is the same thing. Another problem with these two is I don't exactly know how they're trying to be branded. There's some instances where Elias will get booed out of the building. And then there's other instances where people are actually cheering for Elias. And you look at the commentary usually gives you an identification of where creative is wanting to go. You got people like Michael Cole, who will always be on the faces side, and usually the color commentators, which in this case is Corey Graves and Booker T. Booker T's been kind of playing a heel commentator role as of late. That's usually been his thing. And I guess because for a while it felt like Corey Graves was the heel commentator. But when he came onto Raw, it seemed like he took on kind of a more neutral standpoint, kind of not playing one field or the other, just kind of speaking my mind. And Booker T took over as the heel type commentator. But when Jason Jordan was throwing vegetables at Elias, Michael Cole was coming to Elias's aid, saying, let him play. This is wrong. And it's like, and Corey Graves is like, no, this is fantastic. But he's always been picking on Elias, even all the way back in NXT. He's never been a big fan of Elias. So, yeah, it's like, and then Jason Jordan, when he won, Elias's shoulders weren't all the way down, and I'm getting mixed signals, and I don't know what to think, and I just don't know why they threw this match in when it could have just happened on Raw. It's just, Jason Jordan won. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then the main event of the night was the TLC match, which had the Shield, or 2/3 of the Shield, Rollins and Ambrose, with Angle, and then you had Braun Strowman, Kane, The Miz. Braun Strowman, Kane, The Miz. Fuck, who am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Sheamus and Cesaro, of course. The Bar. They are the Bar. So you had these five against these three, and one of the things that I was intrigued of when I heard about the match was, I was like, okay, he has a history of neck injuries, and his first match back is in one of the most hardcore matches there is, which is TLC. And I was really, really surprised with the bumps that Angle took. There was one point where he got like thrown out of the ring, but like he landed on the back of his head and neck kind of and like rolled. Looked really, really bad. And I'm like, oh man, you've got, you know, a history of neck problems, dude. Take it easy. I think he went through a table, and it just, oh god, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe his first match back was a TLC match. Now, of course, there was, you know, 7 other people in that match, so he had people to take care of him, and, you know, everything was very, like, you could tell when Braun Strowman gave him the running power slam through the table, if you listen real closely, because, like, you know, he was trying to get his arm around, and, like, Angle was just, like, you know, just clench up, and you hear Braun say, put your arms around me, and then finally he went down lower and locked it all the way around his waist, so that when he power slammed him through, he just kind of like gently laid him on the ground as they went through the table, and he immediately like, you okay? And you could see Angle say yeah, and he was like, okay, everything's fine. So that was good. I mean, you could tell they were definitely taking precautions in this match and being very, very careful, and he had some great people taking care of him, and the match was great. It went just about as much as I expected it to. There was a bit of a altercation between Kane and Braun Strowman. Again, I don't know if that was originally planned in the original format of the match, or if they just went that direction because Roman Reigns wasn't there. My original thought for the reason of Kane being in the match is because I figured maybe he was going to hold some sort of grudge against Roman Reigns for beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But then they 360 it, and it's like, well, you know, Braun Strowman's always called the monster among men, and he's, you know, was the monster of WWE for the longest time. And so I understand, you know, why they went that way, but I don't think that was originally the way they were going to go. It's definitely going to lead to a match between Kane and Braun Strowman, which will be kind of neat to see, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you're just building up Braun Strowman again. You know, you're making him look like a dominant person, because there's no reason for Kane to win a match against Braun Strowman. He's part-time now. In real life, he's running for political office. So there's really no sense of having him beat Braun Strowman in a match. I don't see that happening at all. I want to talk about the following Raw really, really quick to kind of explain the title of this episode, because if you didn't see it, then you're going to be like, well, Dave, what the hell? You just talked about the results of TLC. What does Under Siege mean? Well, it had to do with the following night on Monday Night Raw. They're not wasting any times. I talked about, you know, them building up Survivor Series as Raw versus SmackDown. They immediately went into this the following night on Raw. AJ Styles hung around for another match. Who did he have a match with? I can't remember. Anyway, AJ Styles had another match on Raw. Shane McMahon showed up and was talking to Kurt Angle, and then at the very end of the night, Kurt Angle was going to announce the participants for the 5-man team, and here comes Shane, and he brought, well, they said the whole roster, but it was more like half the roster that he brought with him, and they kind of ransacked Monday Night Raw. It was a classic Shane McMahon takeover style scenario. Very, very reminiscent of what they did with WCW and ECW back in the day. And yeah, they're definitely, you know, they're firing on all cylinders. They got the pedal to the metal. They're really, really driving hard on selling this next pay-per-view as something that you want to see. You know, they still haven't revealed who's going to be on the men's teams, like either Raw or SmackDown. There's only one confirmed person, and that's on SmackDown's team, and that's Randy Orton. And Randy Orton beat Sami Zayn in a match in order to get that spot. We know who the team captains are going to be for the women's matches. For Raw, it's going to be Alicia Fox, and for SmackDown, it's going to be Becky Lynch. Other than that, and some of the obvious matches that they've announced, which really is just champions versus champions, Alexa Bliss versus Natalya. The Usos versus Rollins and Ambrose. And The Miz versus, who's the U.S. champ? Baron Corbin. And, of course, Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal. Other than those matches, they haven't really revealed anything else. They're just teasing with the women's, and we know one person that's going to be in the men's match, Randy Orton. And there's so many that they could choose from. How are you only going to pick 5? It's going to be very, very interesting TV the next couple weeks until Survivor Series. And yeah, that's all I got for this week, you guys. That's just pretty much Under Siege in a nutshell. Is that, you know, Shane showed up with SmackDown and he was bragging about it all night. He was like, hashtag Under Siege is going to be trending tonight, and then he still was talking about it all the way up to the end of the night. So next week we're gonna look at show results. We're gonna talk about anything that's added to the Survivor Series card. And I'll have a little more time to talk about what's going on with the next NXT TakeOver. Some good stuff, and I can't wait to talk about that. So be sure not to miss it. Until then, thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I'll be back later with another video. I hope to see you there. My name is Dave, and I am the One Man Rave. See ya!